Do you really still need 50 grand in the bank to launch a UK startup? Or, is there a smarter, stealthier way in 2026? Let's dive right into this explainer and break down the reality of setting up a UK venture. We're going to compare the heavily discussed self-sponsorship route with the highly coveted, yet notoriously elusive, Innovator Founder Visa.
If you've been scrolling through endless government guidelines and late-night forum posts, you already know this topic is an absolute maze. So today, we're stripping away the dense government jargon. We're going to expose the expectation versus the reality of securing your future in the UK, making sure you know exactly what assessors are actually looking for.
We've got a packed roadmap for this explainer. We'll be choosing your visa path, unpacking the golden triad, figuring out how to avoid the rejection pile, confronting the reality of investment, and finally, looking at the road to reaching settlement and ILR.
All right, Section 1, choosing your visa path. Right at the start line, you're faced with a massive choice. First, you've got the self-sponsorship route using the skilled worker visa. Basically, this means setting up your own UK company, securing a sponsor license, and, sponsoring yourself. It does take 5 years to reach indefinite leave to remain, or ILR, but get this, it boasts a 99% grant rate. It's a moderate risk option, provided your business is genuine and complies with strict Home Office audits. Then you have the Innovator Founder Visa. This one is a 3-year fast track to settlement, but the success rate absolutely plummets to 36%. Why? Because the bar for entry is incredibly high. You literally have to prove your startup is a highly innovative, scalable machine. That brings us to Section 2, the golden triad.
If you're ambitious enough to tackle the Innovator Founder route, you absolutely must master this golden triad. First up is innovation. Now listen, this doesn't just mean having a fun new idea. Assessors are going to ruthlessly ask what prevents competitors from replicating your business tomorrow. You need structural defensibility. We're talking proprietary technology, a highly specialized methodology, or totally unique data sets. If you just position your business as a new version of something that already exists without clearly explaining how it drastically improves the process, your innovation claim is going to fall totally flat.
Next is viability. This means your financial forecasts simply cannot be optimistic guesses pulled out of thin air. The UK is a high-cost market, and let's face it, rent isn't exactly cheap over there. Assessors want to see the underlying logic of your revenue projections, your expected pricing structures, and concrete proof of your financial runway. Have you factored in realistic UK salaries? What about compliance, legal fees, and marketing budgets? Presenting projections without that supporting logic will completely tank the perceived viability of your business. Finally, we have scalability. This requires you to demonstrate a highly specific target market and spell out exactly how this business is going to grow into a massive enterprise. It is not enough to just start the business. You have to show a credible go-to-market strategy and a realistic roadmap for scaling way beyond those early stages. The Home Office wants businesses that will eventually create jobs and compete on a national or even international level. Now here's a totally fascinating twist. The Home Office doesn't actually evaluate your business plan directly. Instead, they delegate this massive responsibility to specific approved endorsing bodies. We're talking about independent organizations like UK Endorsing Services or Investors Limited. You have to convince these independent business experts before the Home Office even glances at your immigration status. Moving on to Section 3, avoiding the rejection pile. Understanding exactly why applications fail is absolutely critical, especially with that daunting 36% success rate we talked about. A really frequent mistake is relying on assumed demand, like just pointing to a generic secondary market report, instead of actually talking to potential customers and showing early waitlists or pilot programs. Another huge pitfall? Submitting a business model that's essentially just a consulting service. The Innovator Framework does not reward selling your personal expertise. It requires a structured, scalable system. And please, beware of buzzwords. Claiming your product is AI-powered without explaining the actual functional improvement will get you rejected instantly. Assessors want to know what the technology actually does, not just what it's called. To get into the exact mindset you need, consider this insight from George Levy, a former Home Office-approved assessor. He points out that successful applications are rarely about having the most complex, mind-bending idea. Really, it's about having the most structured evidence. If your market validation, your financials, and your development roadmap are rock solid, even a relatively simple idea can become an undeniably strong application.
Let's move to Section 4, the reality of investment.
Under the old visa rules, there was a strict requirement to show at least £50,000 in investment funds. Well, that specific threshold has been abolished. But Because of this change, a massive myth has spread like wildfire that you now need zero investment to apply. Let me be abundantly clear here. No minimum investment absolutely does not mean no investment needed. In reality, your capital needs to align directly with your specific business model. For lean services or early MVPs, you're realistically looking at needing £10,000 to £30,000. For tech platforms, it sits more around the $30,000 to $75,000 mark. And for heavy research and development or regulated products, you're going to need upwards of £75,000. You have to prove to your endorsing body that you can actually afford to build what you're claiming and cover your UK operational overheads.
The crucial point here is avoiding a fatal flaw: contingent investment. Telling an endorsing body that you'll secure funding after you get the endorsement is a huge red flag. It signals weak founder commitment and an over-reliance on future, unproven outcomes. You must show secured, highly credible access to capital right now. Whether that's personal savings, committed angel investors, or existing business revenue, the money needs to be real and ready to deploy.
And finally, Section 5, Reaching Settlement and ILR.
Once you actually have the visa in hand, the real work begins. After your initial £1,000 endorsement fee, you face mandatory check-ins at 12 months and 24 months, with each costing £500. During these meetings, you have to prove you're making satisfactory progress. If you're failing to pursue your business, or worse, if you miss these meetings entirely, the endorsing body will withdraw their support and the Home Office can literally pull your visa.
To finally settle and secure indefinite leave to remain at the 3-year mark, you must hit at least 2 highly aggressive milestones. You might need to show you've formally invested £50,000 into the business, or maybe that you've generated a massive £1 million in gross revenue. Or perhaps you've created 10 full-time jobs for settled workers, meaning British citizens or those who already hold ILR. Hitting just 2 of these milestones proves to the Home Office that your business hasn't just survived, it is genuinely scaled and made a real contribution to the UK economy.
So as we wrap up, I'll leave you with a bit of a gut check question. Is your business structurally ready to innovate? Do you have the primary market validation, the securely committed investment, and the totally unique, defensible idea required to survive this incredibly strict gauntlet? The opportunity to build a life and a thriving business in the UK is massive, but success demands a bulletproof, evidence-backed strategy. If the Home Office looked at your roadmap today, would they see a survivor or just another statistic?